The government team told us that what the president has put on the table, it's more or less like a starting point and it's a baseline. So we, on our part, also said yes, that we would have been surprised if that is everything that will be put forward, because for us, we felt that there are some gaps. For us, we felt that if the president has said that 1 trillion naira has been saved in the last 2 months, that what has been proposed is not far-reaching, and that for us, as part of the principle of negotiations, when anything is put on the table, you accept, but you push for more. So on our path, we said that what has been put on the table is not sufficient, is not enough, and that they can do more. So part of what we agreed is that, or part of what we put forward was that we will look at those things that were, that the president highlighted, and some of the things they have also mentioned. Then we will not, in the process, we think, for example, that 3,000 buses are not sufficient. We think it's not sufficient. By the time you divide 3,000 by 37, you could see how many they could come up to. So it's not sufficient, grossly inadequate. Then we also think as well that some of the measures put on the table are not far-reaching. So we are also going to demand for what we think we'll do. So if we think 30,000 buses could do it, 40,000 buses could do it in the immediate, yes, we'll push it forward. So those were all the conversations that we have had. Then on the government part, you asked something about the protest. Yes, they also appealed that we should shelve the protest. Our response was that we are going to go back this evening and also have a conversation around that, and you will hear from us at the end of that conversation. What we were demanding was wage award. So wage award, like for example, you've heard some states that have said we're paying 40,000 minimum. So it's more or less, they are giving it. It is not the law. They are doing above the minimum wage. So for us, we felt that the federal government could do on their own so much above the minimum wage without much conversation. Because the committee on the minimum wage has not been constituted. The committee on the minimum wage, we want to be very clear on that. That committee has not been constituted. But what we have been advocating for on the part of labor is wage award that doesn't have much bureaucracies, that doesn't have much, you don't have a lot of issues around the law. Because the law that prescribes minimum wage said 5 years. Until you are made that, no other thing can kick in. But we said for the immediate, let government come out. Just as some state government has announced that they're paying 40,000, some say 50,000. So they should do something like that. We have also heard some states as well coming and saying that they are going to pay PMS allowance of XYZ amount. So those are the wage awards that we were thinking and we are pushing government to do.
I want to believe that we're in the same page, just the way the TUC national president did mention. Yeah, we met today and all of us, we discussed based on what we all left yesterday with the mind of coming back today after the president's speech. We all listen, all of us are Nigerians, and we all listen to the president's speech with an appeal that time should be given to this very government. And we sat down and we analyzed it very, very well. And we came up with some issues which I believe you heard it from the TUC president, where the president of this country did mention that within 2 months, the government of Nigeria was able to at least save a trillion naira. And to the ordinary Nigerian out there, we conclude that there are a lot of funds kept because of this subsidy issue. So why can't this fund be made available so that it can cushion the suffering and yearning of all Nigerians? So these were some of the things that we did discuss. We also made discussion by saying the 3,000 buses being proposed to be made available is not sufficient. Ordinarily, when you divide it by the number of states we have, it won't take us anywhere. So these discussions are ongoing, and the government came with an appeal of shifting the intended protest tomorrow. We say, no, this is not something that for us to discuss here, because we have other organs of the union that we have to go back and look at it critically, because the truth is that the truth remains facts that every Nigerian out there is waiting, boiling out there to see what will come out of this very meeting. And we have to go back and maybe make presentation to them that this is what government have said and this is what we are thinking we should go about it.
It went well, and for our own side, as the student angle, we were able to achieve a lot, more especially the pronouncement by the president on the issue of school fees increment, which is one of the major things we requested that the president should help us quickly and intervene, which he has already did the needful. We thank him for that, and equally the issue of the buses. We equally pleaded with him that buses should be put across all our higher institutions to enable us cope with the fuel subsidy period, which he has approved that. I'm sure that you people know yesterday with that release we were able to get that. Then the next thing we are looking at is the issue of the palliative, how it goes to make sure that we are able to get it right.
Basically, we laid out the plans and the interventions of Mr. President, as you all heard in his broadcast yesterday. We made it clear that this was just Mr. President's initial rollout and interventions, and that conversations will be ongoing as we go along. And we appealed to Labour. We did appeal to Labour to call up their protest for tomorrow. We found listening ears here, and they did agree that they all accepted that Mr. President's broadcast was a welcome development, and that they'll go back home to talk to the other leaders that are not present today. So we're hopeful that they will do the right thing and call up the strike tomorrow.